2025 NFL team preview: San Francisco 49ers, NFC Championship game 3 years ago, Super Bowl 2 years ago, 6 wins last year. What caused this drop off? Well, a lot of things, but the two main causes were out of the Niners' control: injuries and a brutal schedule of opponents. Week 1 last season, I had San Fran rated 5.5 points better than a league average team. By week 17 last year, I had adjusted them down more than 3 full points. That's a huge adjustment in a single season. Now, some of these team previews, it's hard to find things to talk about and fill like 6 or 7 minutes. My first version of this Niners team preview was almost 16 minutes long, and I had to edit it down and compact it more because there's so many directions I could take this. I could spend 10 minutes alone just talking about how everything that could have went wrong for San Fran last year did go wrong. But then I remembered this is a team preview, not a 2024 season recap. But it is important to look back before looking forward. There's a metric I've used in these team previews called blended fourth quarter win percentage over expectation. I've come to actually hate talking about this metric in these previews because I feel like I have to explain what it measures because it's not like a universal stat that everyone knows. I know some of you who watch these team previews regularly know exactly what it tells us, but because only 10 people actually watch my videos past 5 seconds, I should probably explain it. Now, the fourth quarter of football games is very unpredictable. A team that is losing goes all out in an attempt to come back. A team that's winning will play more conservatively. The fourth quarter can be played much differently than how the first 3 quarters are played. So in a way, the first 3 quarters are a more accurate portrayal of how two teams match up. Fourth quarter win percentage over expectation removes the fourth quarter and gives us a win percentage based on a team's performance in the first 3 quarters alone. Now, the blended version removes the final 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. The Niners last season finished with a 6-11 record. That's a win percentage of 35%. Based on their blended fourth quarter win percentage over expectation, they should have been a 9-win team, a 53% win percentage. That's an 18% difference, and it's the biggest in the league. Since 1999, 60% of teams that underperformed by at least 15% went over their win total the following season. Niners special teams cost them several close games last year. Niners went 2-6 in single-score games. Kicker Jake Moody made only 70% of his kicks, while Niners opponents made 94% of their field goal kicks, which was the second highest in the league. In the fourth quarter or overtime, when the score margin was within 1 score, Niners went 2-6 kicking field goals. Their opponents in that same span went a perfect 9 for 9. Niners played 2 teams who had the lowest win probability in the fourth quarter, and the Niners still lost. Rams week 3, Arizona week 5. No team underperformed more than the Niners did last year, finishing 5.5 wins below their win total, but no team suffered worse injury luck than the Niners as well. Niners had possibly the most talented roster heading into last season. Then McCaffrey goes down before opening night versus the Jets. Brandon Ayuk, he misses 10 games. Left tackle Trent Williams, 7 games missed. Defense was down key starters all season. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw missed the first 14 games of the season as he tried to return from Achilles tear the year before in the Super Bowl. Hargrave, he only played in 3 games. Hufanga only played 7 games. Fred Warner played in every game, but it was revealed later in the season that he broke his ankle in week 4 and played through it. Bosa, he only missed 3 games, but he played through a hip injury the entire second half of the season. Their team depth was like constantly tested, and they couldn't overcome it, especially against one of the toughest schedules in the league. If you just count up opponent combined wins, San Fran played the toughest strength of schedule last season. 71% of their opponents that they played went over their season win total. That was the highest in the league. Basically, every team they played, with the exception of 4 teams, exceeded their season win total. This season, the Niners catch a big break with strength of schedule. I have San Fran scheduled to play the easiest schedule in 2025. Based on my ratings, their average opponent is 1.7 points worse than a league average team. The only team they play with any significant variance that could end up playing much harder is like Chicago and Atlanta, and they face both them at home. And it's not just their opponent's strength that expects to be easy, but the way the setup of the schedule is gives them like a massive edge in recovery and like the flow of the schedule. They go from a negative 22-day net rest disadvantage last season to a plus 9-day net rest advantage this season. That's a full month of added rest versus opponents this season. 8 of their final 10 games are against teams coming off road games too. They don't face a single opponent coming off a bye. In week 6, 7, and 8, the Niners have a rest advantage in all 3 games. No other team has a rest advantage in more than 2 straight games. I have San Fran favored in every game but 2. They'll play only 3 teams that made the playoffs last year and only play 2 teams that are currently in the top 10 of Super Bowl odds. Fewest of any team. Based on EPA rankings from last year, the Niners will play the second easiest schedule of opponents of both offense and defense, and will play only one quarterback who finished inside the top 12 in EPA per dropback. That's Baker Mayfield, who finished 5th. You get the point here, right? Schedule can't really get much easier than this, and the schedule is one of the many factors pointing towards a big bounce back season for the Niners. But they will face this easy schedule with like a much less talented roster than previous years. They lost some big names in free agency, and this happens when you extend and pay the quarterback position. You have to free up money somewhere, and the Niners are like a good, financially responsible team. They don't really like kick the can down the road. On offense, outside of Debo and guard Aaron Banks, it remains largely intact. It's a defense that lost a lot of names from those winning teams: Leonard Floyd, Dre Greenlaw, Javon Hargrave, Hufanga, Charvarius Ward. I'm not going to go through all the replacements, but they're all basically cheaper free agent alternates at most spots. But I don't think the losses in those big names will result in as big of a drop-off as most think. And plus, getting McCaffrey and Ayuk back is almost like having two free agent signings because they missed so much time last year. And everything I've read about McCaffrey is he should be 100%. The PCL injury is not like a major issue, and he should be a full go to start the season. Maybe most importantly, though, Niners addressed the field goal kicking issue, which directly cost them wins last year. They signed Greg Joseph, who will at least give Moody competition, which can only help there. I've been tempted to bet the Niners over their win total. It's currently at 10.5 with the under slightly juiced, so it's close to like an implied win total of 10 wins. My projected win total is 10.7 wins. They can't have the same injury luck as last year, right? I mean, if they have any chance at double-digit wins, health is the big X factor because this team isn't very deep. A couple injuries could impact this team severely, more so than any other team. But then again, schedule is so easy, they might be able to pull off some wins with backups. It's easily a top 5 coaching staff, which I always look towards. But I need more to bet over a double-digit win total. Since 2015, teams with a win total of 10.5 or more have only gone over 37% of the time, 16, 19, and 6. I'm not worried about the offense. Even with all the injuries and tough strength of schedule last season, the offense still finished top 10. Niners went 6-9 in games Purdy started, but they were +4 in point differential. And speaking of point differential, huge contrast between first half and second half with this Niners team. Niners +47 in point differential in the first half, but -94 in the second half. Every team who had a positive first half point differential last year made the playoffs, besides, of course, San Fran. Now, the defense here is a different story. Can Robert Saleh revive this unit? In each of his final 2 seasons, Saleh was the defensive coordinator in San Fran. The defense finished inside the top 8. And this Niners defense hasn't showed that same passion since Saleh left 2 years ago. So with him back, that should help. One thing I am looking for is betting overs in San Fran games, especially early in the season before the defense kind of clicks. A lot of new pieces, and they're young on defense. Saleh is going to bring his system back, but might take some time for all that to gel. And the Shanahan offense isn't a worry, so I think they'll be an over team out the gate. And I was very close to betting Nick Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year. He fits the perfect profile of past winners. He finished 3rd among edge rushers in pressure rate last year while being hurt all year. But if you watch my season awards and future bets video, you know who I went with, Will Anderson. Okay, that's all I got for the Niners. Only 4 teams left. Next up, Seattle Seahawks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, good luck with your bet.